We're here in North Pole, Alaska. It's negative 15 degrees outside, and it's breakfast time for the dog team. Breakfast this morning consists of some meat, water, extra nutrients, and of course, some dog kibble. Can I say something about medicine? Dempsey here has a sinus infection, so we've got to give her medicine. Hey, Apollo. You excited? You love breakfast time, don't you? Good morning, Midge. There's always chores to do in the dog yard, like scooping poop. So this is a dog sled, part of the best type of transportation up here in Alaska. You hook up about 10, 12, 16 dogs to the gang line, which is this line that extends forward from the sled. You hook up the dogs to this, and they love to pull you around. If you take a look at the sled here, it's made out of a couple different components or parts. On the bottom, you have the runners. It's kind of like skis or the bottom of your sled. That's what gets you to slide over the ice and the snow very well. You also have the sled bag. In this you could put a person, but normally you put all of your emergency gear. You'll put your stove, it's a little fire stove about that big, a pot to cook all of the food in for the dogs, sleeping bag, emergency gear, an axe, matches, anything you might need to camp out in the Alaskan wilderness at a very, very, very cold temperature. The way you drive it is you stand up here on the back. There's two little mats that are on top of the runners, and you hold on to the handles. And when you say, "All right," the dogs take off. You better hold on tight or else you might fall off at that point. If you want to slow them down, you can put your foot right here on the drag mat. The bottom of the drag mat is kind of rough, and when it goes across the snow and the ice, if you put weight on it, it's going to slow you down a little bit. But if you need to stop all the way, you use the brake. The brake digs into the ice or the snow and really stops you. But don't let off the brake, because the moment you do, those dogs are going to pull you again. And that's why you have a snow hook. When you come to a stop, you throw the snow hook in the ground and stamp down on it, really to dig in. Now, no matter what, the dogs aren't going to be able to pull you off. This is when you stop. You can go check on the dogs. You can make your camp for the night or the afternoon, and you're ready to go sled dogging.
Z, we're trying to film here.
So this is Dempsey. She's one of the smaller sled dogs, as you can see. She's not all that big. Definitely doesn't look like the Siberian Husky, the big poofy ones with the blue eyes that everyone's used to. But she's an Alaskan Husky. In fact, all the Huskies here are Alaskan Huskies, and they all look very different. That's just because they're breeded with a lot of different types of dogs. Some for speed, some for strength, some for their fur coats to keep them warm in this cold weather. But this is what the quintessential Alaskan Husky looks like. Very fun, very cute, very beautiful, and very loving. Each one of these dogs lives outside here in the dog yard. They're attached to a pole with a 3-foot chain, which some people think is sad, but they love it. All they do is run around in circles until it's time for the sled, and they love pulling the sled. Don't you? Oh yeah, they're happy dogs here. Each of them also... You're getting a little touchy there. Each of them also has a nice dog box here. Inside the dog box we put straw and hay so that they have a nice soft and warm bed. They also like to jump on top of their roof to get a little taller. The combination of their coat and their dog box can keep them warm in the coldest of weathers, even down to negative 40 degrees. That's very, very cold. But they seem to be comfortable out here. Hey there, Adam. This is Piper. She's the lead dog. That means she's top dog in this kennel. Whenever we attach her to the sled, she goes up at the very front. To be a lead dog, you need to be smart, you need to be very determined, and you need to be ready to work when no one else wants to work. Piper loves to be a lead dog, and she definitely shows it. She'll boss the other dogs around if they stop or start getting out of hand. She'll bark at them and say, "Get back in line," and keep them going. She works very hard. This kennel has about 20 dogs. And some of the kennels, especially the big ones, can have upwards of 50 or 100 dogs. One kennel that I've heard of even has 127 dogs. So many dogs that the owner put them in neighborhoods and gave street signs right here in the dog yard. With those many dogs, it's kind of hard to think up as many names as you need to for all of them to be unique. So a lot of times, mushers will pick a theme. This one right here, he's Tim Howard. He's named after the goalie from the men's soccer team from the last World Cup. Other dogs in this yard from that men's team are Dempsey, Beasley, Green Machine. And so you pick a theme and you go with it. I've heard of dogs named after characters from the books of Narnia. I've heard of dogs named after other animals like alligator and zebra. Sometimes they can get very funny. We kind of keep things simple here. Just because huskies live and work outdoors doesn't mean that they don't like a good indoor cuddle session. These guys are super soft.